Though gypsy at heart, the quote by Kasky Skinner, "I travel a lot, I hate having my life disrupted by routine," has long been one of my favorites. The temptation of taking ICC in Mexico, thawing out from snowy Vermont and the intensity of the first semester in grad school, was irresistible. And I'll share a secret with you. I didn't even know Simon yet when I invited him to spend a week in Tulum with me. With just a few hours in Mexico City the day before class started, the obvious choice was visiting La Casa Azul, Frida Kahlo's house and museum. Standing over the very bed where her life of beauty and agony ended was moving beyond words. Exploring San Miguel de Allende on our first day, I learned the hard way why the city is known as the city of fallen women, due to its dizzying, narrow, and uneven streets. At first, we spent most of our time in the historic center, which became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2005. The cost of maintaining the city to keep up with UNESCO standards is resulting in many local families selling their homes to the wealthier expats and Mexicans. Many Americans came to San Miguel de Allende on the GI Bill after Vietnam. I learned that there were around 80 Americans living in San Miguel de Allende in 1960 and over 3,000 today. When I learned that, is when I began grappling with how increasing numbers of foreigners moving to San Miguel de Allende are changing the physical, cultural, and political geography of the city. In the U.S., Mexicans immigrating is such a common topic. It's clear that there are at least two sides to every story. The afternoon making lunch with construction workers, building a friend of our host's home, and later taking them on for a soccer match was a highlight for many. Never mind our bellies bulging with chiles and tortillas, the dusty field, or their cumbersome work boots. This game was on. If it wasn't for Team Mexico's vivacious cheerleaders, I still don't think they would have beat SIT. We could see perfectly in the campo signs of a vicious historical cycle of agrarian reform. Land that had been redistributed to indigenous and local people after the revolution is now being bought up once again by the few elite. How long must this vicious cycle continue? We all toured SEDESA, an inspiring organization founded in the 60s on the teachings of liberation theology. They're working with over 60 local communities on health, education, social justice, food security, and sustainable economic alternatives such as honey and propolis production. SEDESA is also working with women to cope with the challenges related to so very many of local men migrating to the United States. If I asked you 3 stereotypes of Mexicans, what would you say? Now, if I told you that your next step is to share those stereotypes while looking at a classroom of Mexican students' eyes, would you say the same thing? Getting together with students studying English to dismantle cross-cultural stereotypes was by far the most profound intercultural communication experience I had while in Mexico. El Charco del Ingenio is an area of ecological preservation. It's also a peace zone, according to the Dalai Lama, and an outstanding example of ecotourism. Here, hallucinatory flora of the high desert is steeped in myth and mystery. If you listen closely, you can hear the stories of the past mingling on the Plaza of the Four Winds. They say that those who love the land love life. Visit El Charco and you'll know that it's true. They're partnering with schools to design and deliver much-needed environmental education curriculum, and taking on the public and private sector to conserve natural and indigenous heritage. The only word that comes to mind in trying to summarize San Miguel de Allende is paradox. Rich, poor, historic, avant-garde, progressive, repressive. Some students chose not to participate in the ICC Mexico program because San Miguel de Allende has become a popular tourism destination. If you ask me, in retrospect, it was a perfect opportunity to explore some of the ethical and practical conflicts that quote-unquote development workers and the communities that they interact with face on a regular basis. I'm infinitely grateful for the generosity and warmth of the San Migueleños who tolerated my questions about their perceptions of reality beneath the surface, for our wonderful hosts, and to my classmates who truly made the experience one I'll never forget. there was just enough time to check out Diego Rivera's awe-inspiring mural of the history of Mexico at the Palacio Nacional before racing off to the airport. In front of the Palacio Nacional, just 4 days after the tragic earthquake struck Haiti, local non-governmental organizations and students and the police were working hard to collect supplies for Haiti.